Hey there, Jets Nation. Welcome back to One Jets Pod. Whether you're tuning in to our video content or joining us on our audio-only platforms, we've got you covered. If you're enjoying what you hear or see, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't just gently tap, but smash that bell icon to stay notified whenever we drop new content. Also, we love comments and 5-star ratings. Thanks again, Jets fans. Now sit back and take flight with One Jets Pod.
Welcome to Jet Life Stadium.
Hey, what's going on, Jet Nation? This is Randy with the One Jets Pod. I hope everybody's having a fabulous week. I'm joined by my co-host, Dominic Lorenz. Dominic, my brother, how are you?
Doing good, brother. We are officially in free agent mode of the, I guess you could say, the 2024/2025 NFL season. And I'll admit, we've been talking so much over the last couple of days about it, sharing the stories and different things. And, you know, I don't want to say I'm surprised, but I am a little kind of looking in an empty room like, okay, this is happening. And I wasn't expecting a lot of the specific moves that have happened thus far. Most of them make sense, and we're going to dive into it here in the show, but everything has made sense. But it is going to be weird seeing a lot of big names that have been in specific uniforms for years.
Yeah.
Now in different uniforms, some of them with AFC to NFC, some are going to rival teams. Some teams are blowing the shit up. You get them. You are literally getting a mixed bag of a lot of things. You have desperado teams against teams that are all like you're getting a little bit of everything. So I don't want to say I expected it, but we knew something wild like this could be on the horizon when we spoke the last time through the early portion of the mock drafts.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, free agency hasn't disappointed. Speaking of the mock drafts, folks, there won't be one this week because there's a lot of free agency news that we got to touch, and I don't feel like being on the podcast that long tonight.
We're going to be as short and sweet to the point.
We're going to try.
We say that all the time, and then literally in the blink of an eye, it'll be 45 minutes after one topic. But that's what you get from. But that's what you get from Randy and myself. So guess what? Take it or leave it, people. It's
Absolutely.
Up to you.
Speaking of take it or leave it, we decided to go ahead and take this one. We went ahead and re-signed Mr. C.J. Mosley. Now, what was they re-signed him? We restructured.
You re-amped him up.
Yeah, he was due to make about $21 million just this season alone. Mm-hmm. So as you see, we restructured. It's now a $17.25 million contract with $13.25 of it being guaranteed, and that includes $9 million of that 13 being fully guaranteed this season. I didn't get it all in there, but to kind of just a little blurb here on Mr. Mosley. Mosley, 31, has been a stalwart for the past 3 seasons. He's played 50 out of 51 games. Oh man, he's been there. He's always been there. I'll give him that.
Iron Man.
Love him. He's led the team in tackles in each of those seasons, making the Pro Bowl in 2022 and second team All-Pro just last year. He was one of the biggest free agent acquisitions in team history, signing a 5-year, $85 million contract in 2019 after 5 seasons in Baltimore. I love having CJ here. A lot of Jet fans weren't too keen on the numbers, when he first came here, 5 years, $85 million. But you know what? Having CJ here the last, 4 years now,
4 plus, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a godsend, man. He's the captain of the defense. And honestly, dude, you almost start, he's going to retire a Jet at this point. You almost forget that he was a fucking Raven at one point.
I think in this situation for the Jets, we know how bona fide this defense has been, especially in 2023, where, as you already mentioned, he's the cornerstone. He's the guy. How I would relate it to the 49ers, he is your Fred Warner. He is the guy, the catalyst, the captain of that defense. So to not only get him back for the final year of his deal, even though he's getting a little less per year than he would get in his final year if the contract wasn't restructured, you're going to get him for that extra year at the end of the day. So he'll be there for the entirety of the Aaron Rodgers era, however long it goes, whatever the situation will be. But again, it's that cornerstone of the defense. that it's a position in the Jets scenario right now that you could not afford to sour a relationship like that. You do
Right.
by a veteran like that. And so you added a year and gave him a little more money. In the
Yeah.
grand scheme of things, that's not going to break the bank. It's not like he had 1 year, $10 million left, and you just re-upped him for 5 years and another $90 million, and it completely breaks the bank and throws off the entire salary cap for what you're trying to accomplish right now. So I think overall, I think it's a great move by the New York Jets to just basically remind almost the organization, the players within the organization, and even the fans, our defense, the goal for the defense this year is going to be the same as last year.
Yep.
Be the best that it can be, and this is a guy that it starts with.
Absolutely. I just love the selfless player that CJ is. I love the leadership that he brings. I mean, he's just an overall good dude, and the fact that he took a massive pay cut, like I said, he was scheduled to make $21 million this year. The entire restructure is less than what he was supposed to make just this year alone. So,
well, that's where
selfless human being, selfless,
and you bring up that selfless element, and it turns my wheels a little bit, because I'll give you two scenarios right now. Scenario number one is, look at the free agent contracts that are being doled out over the past 72 plus hours.
Yeah.
The amount of money that is being thrown out. There are players on the offensive and defensive line that are getting more per year than a guy like Saquon Barkley, who went to the Eagles. Right. Now, Saquon, phenomenal running back. He's a beast. He gets touchdowns. He catches the ball. He should be one of the highest paid players on this market, just like Derrick Henry and players like that. But you're seeing offensive linemen that are getting bigger AAV, annual average value.
Yeah, some of these guys are getting damn near $20 million a year. Look at Robert Hunt in Carolina, 5 years, 100.
Yeah, so you're looking at situations like that, and I say, what does, again, every organization in front office and scouting department has different needs, okay? Am I going to tell any organization, good or bad, what to do? Probably not, unless it's the 49ers and I'm going to bitch all day long or cheer all day long, because that's how we are as fans. But if you look at Carolina for the Hunt deal, 5 for 100, but in comparison to like Derrick Henry getting, a 2-year-ish deal with Baltimore or whatever the case may be, you kind of sit there and be like, it's more value. So it is kind of interesting, and it reminds me a little bit of your cornerstone. Mosley gets a little bit of a pay cut to set the tone, leadership mentality, selflessness. Yep. 49ers had the same thing this week. The Niners had 2 opportunities and only one panned out. They end up releasing Eric Armstead, who was set to be owed about $18+ million. They cut him loose because he didn't want to take a pay cut to probably around, the 10 to 11. So probably lose about $7 to $8 million of his contract worthy.
Yeah.
So he goes, and he now just got a deal today with Jacksonville. Sayonara, thanks for the time. Fullback Kyle Juszczyk, best fullback in football. Fullbacks don't make money. This isn't the hard-nosed 1970s and 80s style of the NFL where the fullback just went and went and went. Kyle Juszczyk is that guy. And we talked about it in the playoffs, and you've watched 49er games very closely. He is one of the very few table setters on that Niner offense that really makes it go. He sets the edges. He's rolling. He's supporting the quarterback in calling plays. He was willing to be selfless and take a $1.95 million deduction to what he was getting owed. And it wasn't much because, again, fullback's not making that much money. But he wanted to be selfless because he knows what this team is capable of.
Yep.
So you have two sides of the coin there just on the 49ers side of things. And then, again, you branch it off to the bigger scheme of things in the entire NFL free agent class. Money is getting doled out like water these days, I swear.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're going to stay in-house with the team, the Jets. And we went out and we brought back some of our own, and one of those being our beloved kicker, Mr. Greg the Third Leg Zerline. Gets a 2-year, $8.4 million deal. So he's looking like he's going to make right around $4 million a year, which is
Fair for a kicker.
We need these guys, man. I'm glad they didn't just let him walk and think they could just bring in another kicker and give him a cheap deal. And no, the Jets have had problems with kickers for a long time.
He was their offense all year long.
Absolutely. and like I said, 2 years, $8.4 million deal. We'll read his blurb. Last year, Zerline had a solid season, making 35 of his 38 field goal attempts, including going 5 for 6 from 50 yards and beyond. The 36-year-old Zerline is heading into his third season with the Jets after having previously played 2 seasons with the Cowboys and 8 seasons with the Rams. Aaron Rodgers recently said he hoped the Jets would re-sign Zerline, and the captain got his wish. He's back for the next 2 fucking years, man, and I am excited. I love me some Greg the third leg. When he's out there on the field, he's Mr. Automatic, man.
Yeah, I think there's absolutely no question that this deal needed to get done for the New York Jets. And, this is a situation where it's going to be very short and simple. Right move, right time. The money is fair. Yep. He does his job. Look at the numbers on the bottom. 35 of 38. Mm-hmm. He's, again, 36 years old. But, again, this isn't a quarterback. This isn't a running back. We're talking about a kicker here. If he puts the ball between the goalposts, that's what it matters at the end of the day. And he only missed, I believe, 1 extra point in the regular season as well.
Sir.
And I believe it was on a deflection, so it wasn't even like he shanked it horribly or something. Right. So there's absolutely, if anybody has something negative to say about that specific move, no.
I say most Jet fans they were pretty hypey for that one. They would love to see old Greg come back. And speaking of, we're going to stay on the kicker realm. Another guy that a lot of Jet fans were so happy to see back, and we call him. He could be like the dad or the uncle of the team, and that's Mr. Thomas Morstead. He gets a 2-year deal worth over $5 million. Morstead got plenty of work in 2023. He led the league in total punts, which probably won't surprise you considering how much the Jets struggle on offense. Oh, God. Morstead did a solid job overall, and bringing him back seemed like a no-brainer for the Jets. Both Jets kicking specialists, Morstead and Greg Zuerlein, were free agents after the season. The majority of the fan base wanted them back. The Jets were able to retain both on reasonable contracts. They absolutely did. I was so happy. I was really worried. I'm not kidding, man. I was a little worried that we were going to probably let one of these guys walk.
But again, the money is not significant enough to afford that situation to be like, I don't know if we could pay $5 million for a punter. Like, I don't know if we could pay $8 million for a kicker. It's like,
you ever met Joe Douglas?
Yeah. No, but we'd have words if he was clamoring that. It's one of those situations where it's the right, again, just like Zuerlein, right move, right time, the money's right. I think everything lines up. You get your battery of kickers back. So that is absolutely not a point of contention going into the offseason and OTAs. This is a lockdown positioning. Aaron Rodgers was in favor of both of this. And Tommy Morstead, he did a great job of punting the ball inside the 20-yard line, which hemmed a lot of teams back.
Absolutely.
Which at the end of the day, a lot of people can make the case that the kicker or / punter is a part of the defense. Hence why in fantasy, it's defense / special teams. You're helping out your defense who's maybe been on the field a lot, but you're continuously putting the opposing team 20, 10-yard line, 5-yard line, pinning them to the 1. That's going to help in so many ways, shape, or form. So to get those strong legs back, those loins are burning in New York. Yeah. Let's go.
I mean, I've seen my fair share of punters come through this squad, this franchise, and I never thought I would ever say this, but man, I've never seen a guy like Thomas Morstead, man. I mean, the way he can change field position. I mean, it really opened, like, his punting game really opened my eyes and made me actually pay more attention to that side of the football last year.
Appreciate it, yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's funny enough that we talk. It's just funny how Niners and Jets, how we've come together here over the past year to do all this One Jets pod type stuff. And the similarities, and maybe it's from the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree of Robert Saleh, and you see DeMeco Ryans in Houston and McDaniel in Miami, and all these branch of that's one of the biggest things you talk about this time of year when coaches are getting hired and free agency and how players develop and go to other places. They always bring it back to the Kyle Shanahan tree. That's how, at least what 49ers hear all the time. And the amount of similarities right now between the Jets and the 49ers is in some way, shape, or form pretty decent. Like, if I had to pick two punters in our league, I'm picking Morstead and Mitch Wisnowski from the 49ers. They know how to punt inside the 20-yard line. They are extremely phenomenal kickers. They get the job done. Defenses run very similar. We already mentioned about Mosley and Warner being the cornerstones of defense. Breece Hall, Christian McCaffrey, staunch running backs. There's just so many similarities in these two franchises. And when Aaron Rodgers is healthy, you have two great quarterbacks. Brock Purdy, who's, of course, on the younger side of things. Aaron Rodgers is on the older side of things, but that's just time and evolution. So it's one of those beautiful things in the NFL. So it makes me happy in the sense to be able to, we can talk Jets, but whenever I sprinkle in the 49ers, it's not like I'm trying to be a pushover, be like, there's no similarities and I'm just going to cut in and cut you off. It's like there's actual like cross references. And it's great at that point. So again, kicking situation is great. And it's funny. I don't know if this is the next free agent you want to talk about, but speaking of that 49er Jet crossover, welcome. Well, not just Isaiah Oliver. This is part one, a 1-year deal, and Javon Kinlaw 1-year deal. In my opinion, I'll start with Oliver. In this case, the Jets are loaded at corner. Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Carter, and now Isaiah Oliver. But we talk about this at nauseum. Depth. It raised eyebrows, and I'm reading from what you put down, which is amazing, and I'll give a little anecdote here. Niners did bench him over the last month of the year and the Super Bowl. They did bring in a veteran, Logan Ryan, from the New England Patriots, that kind of took his spot and aligned the different defensive scheme that at time defensive coordinator Steve Wilks wanted. But he had plenty of tackles. He was very good at the secondary, but he just kind of tipped off in the second half of the year. Is it him? Was it the way our defensive coordinator Steve Wilks was going about business? Clearly, could have been that. Steve Wilks has been fired, and the Niners promoted Nick Sorensen to their new defensive coordinator. So I think it's a good move because he's not a rated secondary guy. You already have that in Sauce Gardner. Yes. So to have a complementary piece, that's, again, when you talk about depth and complementary should go hand in hand at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, when you got, there's not a lot of corners that, even some big names could probably come into New York and would probably be slotted into that third spot because you're not dethroning DJ Reed or Sauce Gardner, not at least right now.
No,
but no, I do like this pick. It gives us depth.
The money, the money isn't too crazy as well. $4 million.
$4 million guaranteed. That's nothing.
Now, when you switch over to Javon Kinlaw, this is an interesting case scenario with Kinlaw because he was first-round draft pick. In his draft class. Niners had really high hopes for him because at the time that they drafted Kinlaw, this time at that year, 4 or 5 years ago, or 2020, so 4 years ago, the Niners released their previous first-round pick, DeForest Buckner, to pick up Kinlaw. Buckner goes to Indianapolis. He's been thriving there. So Kinlaw was supposed to be the new cornerstone. So things at the early onset of the career did not work out as well. And then a couple injuries plagued him. So it was kind of a helter-skelter. When he was healthy and he balled out, he played very well. And again, that a staunch defensive line that the 49ers put together, especially last year with, Bosa, Hargrave, Chase Young, Drake Jackson before he got hurt. It was a complimentary piece for Javon Kinlaw. So the amount of power that he can bring when he's healthy, I think that's going to be the biggest key for you and for Jets fans to get used to. It's all hinging on health. He's got the intangibles, and he's reuniting with head coach now, Robert Saleh, from the defensive days in San Francisco. So I think there will be some flashes. And I think Robert Saleh, if any coach is going to get the best out of Kinlaw, it would be Robert Saleh or, of course, DeMeco Ryans in Houston because those were his two defensive coordinators in the early ons of his career. So, and again, I forget, flash the money one more time. It was $7.25 million, 6.9 guaranteed. Again, he was a high draft pick, 25 tackles. He gets you a couple sacks. He pressures the quarterback from time to time. And on the opposite to Oliver, he got a little bit better as the season went on because of the injuries. So hopefully for Jets fans, you carry that over into the offseason and into 2024.
Absolutely. And we'll stay in the NFC West. We picked up another defensive tackle from your rival, the Cardinals, Mr. I don't know how to.
I think Lekai
Fortu.
Yeah, Lekai Fortu. We'll say that.
Lekai Fortu. There you go.
There we go. We roll with it here.
I get it. Like when you got a head coach like Robert Saleh,
it's defense first mindset.
You're always going to have that defensive line rotation, so you're always going to have guys coming through here. I'm wondering if he's coming here on a 1 year, $2.5 million deal that can reach up to $4 million. I'm wondering if at this point they're just going the cheap route and just trying to use two guys to maybe take over for what Bryce Huff was doing.
I think in my mind, the Jets probably feel, and Joe Douglas especially, that defense isn't the problem. You still want to stockpile and get that depth.
And he wouldn't be wrong.
And this is the way you do it. You get on the cheaper end players that only retain, a fourth round pick, and those lower level options that are still meaty and still do the work as is. So, we've been talking ad nauseum probably since the inception in the first episode of the One Jets pod. O-line. Like you can't get it. You can't get enough O-line to eat, to breathe, to sleep, whatever. So to see as many defensive players being signed is a little interesting, but it's not, again, breaking the bank type player. So I think it's more of a stockpile of reserves, rotational players, because again, it's a long season. Injuries are going to happen. And sometimes even the mid-game injuries. Oh, I'm my hamstring doesn't feel great. I'm out the second and third quarter, but I feel good enough to come back for a possession in the fourth. Those times you're going to want to iron things out. So, I think, again, just stockpiling the Army men to kind of have some reinforcements.
And to further prove your point, through our first 6 slides, 5 of them are defensive guys. The only offensive guy was Greg Zuerlein.
Yeah. So
and we're actually going to stay on the defensive side, believe it or not.
Who needs offense? It's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Clark. Now, Dom, I will say this: we picked him up from Baltimore, I believe, in a trade last offseason. Now, this guy, as you read, previously considered an Iron Man for have played 49 of 49 games. Of course, he comes over to the Jets, tears his fucking ACL, and he's out for the year.
Yeah.
Now, but I will say this: when this guy is healthy and he's playing, he's fucking good. If we can get him, if we got him, and we can get Ashton Davis back in the fold, dude, our safety problem's taken care of.
Yeah, and I think,
pieces maybe.
Yeah, and I think in this situation, again, just like Kinlaw, health is going to be the biggest question because coming off those ACL injuries and those massive surgeries, let's be real. The first quarter of the season, I don't want to say fans are shaking in their boots, but you're like, okay, how is he going to play after being out of game shape for a year? So I think the right thing to do if you're the New York Jets, do not guns ablazing make him play 58 out of 60 plays in the first 4 weeks of the season every game. You got to put him on a pitch clock. I would say if the first 4 games of the year have 60 plays each game, I would say you're probably playing about 40 to 45 in that situation. Now, again, you look at matchups in the situation. Definitely, if there's somehow, some way, any blowouts where the Jets are on the right side of it, take him out of the game, see how he's feeling. But I think, again, like Kinlaw, if health is on his side and he regains previous form, there should be no reason why that safety position is a question anymore, courtesy of Chuck Clark. Now, again, I know that it's a 1 year, undisclosed amount of money, but again, it's a torn ACL. Everybody recovers different, and it's kind of like the Achilles. They say nobody's the same after the Achilles, and they're saying that now. Back probably, I would say 10 or 15 years ago, if you had an ACL injury, they were saying that at the time as well. But with the new technology and all the surgeries that happen, people are coming back from ACL in 6 to 8 months instead of a full year
15
now.
years ago, a torn ACL, you'd have been like, oh, shit, I ain't touching that guy in the free agency.
Yep, exactly. Then it kind of transferred over to the Achilles being the big injury, and that kind of came around when Kobe Bryant had his near the end stages of his career. People started freaking out about Achilles injuries. Yeah. But now, let's be real. In modern day sports, not just the NFL, but baseball, NBA, hockey, how many times per calendar year do we see Achilles and ACL injuries? Required surgery. Yeah. The NFL this year, how many Achilles injuries in big moments? Aaron Rodgers, and again, here's another cross between Jets and 49ers here. Aaron Rodgers, week 1, first game, Dre Greenlaw, last game of the year in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The NFL season was bookended by torn Achilles in the dumbest fucking way possible.
Yeah.
Jumping on the field and after a throw hopping. Like, that is the dumbest. And both on turf, by the way.
Where was this? I was going to say, where was the Super Bowl played again? I forgot.
Vegas. Well, no, Vegas doesn't have turf. They have real grass because they take it outside and do it. But still, the Rodgers one on the turf, and that's the whole scandal with the turf. But still, the 49ers, he does that every game. And then all these supposed doctors, well, the more you do repeated motions, the less. What the? Okay, so Aaron Rodgers.
Where's the 49ers like forced to play in, like practice in a shitty area leading up to the Super Bowl? Rain and shit.
Yeah, they were practicing at the UNLV college outdoors.
I wonder if that had a little something to do with it or something.
But everybody's saying, well, when you do repetitive motion, it's bound to happen. How many players in the NFL have done repetitive motion and have never had an Achilles?
I don't think I've seen this many Achilles injuries in one fucking season in a long time, if ever.
No, not at all. So, again, health, circling back, health is always the number one thing at the end of the day. So, if Clark comes back healthy and he's able to show progression to regain that original form, I'm not going to expect it right off the bat in week 1. Mm-hmm. You got to he is the type of person, temper expectations for, I would say, the first quarter of the season, and then see where he's at, and then lay out the gauntlet to see where he needs to be by like week 5, week 6.
Right, because if you can bring back Ashton Davis, you also still have Tony Adams as a depth piece that can kind of take some of that pressure off of Clark as he gets reacclimated into the playing time.
And this is, I remember, this is the entire conversation with no draft picks have happened yet. We have not hit the NFL draft yet. That is happening 5 weeks from now. We're at that point right now where we're 5 weeks away from the draft. So, in the grand scheme of things, the Jets, I don't know what the plan is right now for the draft, but maybe it's offensive line and safety. Get the depth piece. Who knows? We really don't know, but if they're looking to do these depthy moves, maybe late 5th round, 6th round, whatever, they get a late safety piece just to have them in the development phases. Who the heck knows? But temper expectations, hope for better, and just pray for health like everybody else in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So finally, we get to switch sides and head on over to the offensive side of things.
To a quarterback. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, we do. It's the quarterback. The Jets went out and actually got a legit backup quarterback, Mr. Tyrod Taylor.
And he's used. And he's used to that turf.
Yep, sure is. So, he's got some muscle memory now.
Exactly.
2 years, worth up to $18 million. So just $2 million over what I was actually giving him in our mock, free agencies. And if you notice, every time I signed Tyrod, it was a 2-year deal.
Yeah, because he's still within reason. He was drafted in the 6th round of 2011. So that makes him about early 30s? Yeah, that'd be about early 30s now. So again, he's a viable backup quarterback that can do the job. Again, 5 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions in 2013. The whole debacle with the New York Giants with Daniel Jones.
Completion percentage, though, I'll tell you that.
It's nice. A lot of them were more short change passes, but still, 64%. You're going to take it to the bank, and if you're doing short change passes to Breece Hall and you have the right blockers in front of them, you're going to take those odds at that point. So I think that's very good. This clearly, we all knew it was coming, that Zach Wilson is gone. He's selling the penthouse. He's getting ready to move on. I don't know who the heck's going to take him at this point.
That's the thing. Is anybody going to take him? Because I honestly believe if nobody takes him, I don't see Joe Douglas just fucking dumping $11 million and not getting anything for it. He'll be like the third fucking string or the emergency quarterback, or he'll just be a healthy scratch every week.
Well, and this is where the quarterback market is really dried up right now, because not just talking about Zach Wilson, but the whole debacle and the whole conversation that's pretty much the mainframe of this NFL draft is, what are the Bears doing with the number 1 pick? Yeah. And not to divulge too much off the topic, but we're going to talk quarterbacks here. The Chicago Bears, in my opinion, this offseason have done everything right by their organization. Yeah. They just traded for Keenan Allen about an hour before we went live here tonight, and that's a huge top 10 receiver in the NFL. Pair him with DJ Moore. Pair him with a good tight end in Cole Kmet. You picked up DeAndre Swift as your new running back now, who I would say is a serviceable, good running back. Not a great running back, but he'll do the job. And then, they have a couple other wide receivers sprinkled in, but it's going to be the DJ Moore, Keenan Allen show. No doubt about it. And Cole Kmet can work his butt off as well. So
do you think the Bears get rid of Fields at this point, or do you think they keep him?
And I'm glad that you asked, because we talked about this, I think, last week, my quarterback predictions. Mm-hmm. And I told you I think they're going to keep him. And based on the moves that they're making, it's one of two options. They're going to keep him, or they're setting the perimeter up so nicely so that there is no excuse if they draft Caleb Williams why they can't win. Basically do the opposite of what they didn't do with Justin Fields back in the day. What did the Bears truly do for Justin Fields up until last year when they traded for DJ Moore?
Not a whole lot.
Tariq Cohen as a running back was the best thing that they had. Their defense wasn't great. The defense ended up being, I believe, top 10, top 12 in the second half of the season. Mm-hmm. They reamped with a couple of guys so far in the offseason, and they look healthy and ready to go. But if they do want to trade Justin Fields, who's taking him right now? The Raiders go get Gardner Minshew and Aiden McConnell, who was their quarterback. They're going to battle it for the spot. Oh, yeah. Russell Wilson goes to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins, potential tampering, goes to Atlanta. The man where am I at here? Right here, folks, talked about tampering last week. Go check out that. Now, not to specific players, but we talked about tampering in general. Kirk Cousins and Saquon could be in trouble for it, or their agents or franchises. Who else? Who was another big quarterback? Drew Lock goes to the Giants.
Oh,
he's going to play backup. Sam Howell goes from the Commanders to the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, that's right. I forget about the Howell trade.
And then you have other situations where the Vikings need a quarterback. Okay, right now Nick Mullins is their starter. That's not going to fly for Justin Jefferson.
No.
Baker Mayfield, he signed that lucrative deal with Tampa Bay. Congrats, Baker. And we kind of thought if he didn't get released, he was going to get a big contract. So we nailed that one on the back.
Yep.
Jimmy Garoppolo's been released. I don't know what people are going to enjoy about Jimmy Garoppolo. Joe Flacco's now a backup in Indianapolis behind Anthony Richardson. Jameis Winston goes to be the backup for Cleveland.
Cleveland, yep.
So where is there a team in the NFL that has a glaring need for a quarterback that is not named New England or the Commanders? Because they have a top 3 pick, and I don't foresee them trading out.
Yeah.
Even though the Patriots took Jacoby Brissett, who I feel he's a swing guy. He'll be the starting quarterback to whoever they draft, and then you'll see the seamless switch if it's Drake May or if it's Jaden Daniels at the end of the day.
You're right, and you just reminded me. I sound like an idiot a little bit ago when I was talking about Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor wasn't the guy I kept putting in the fucking mock free agency. It was Jacoby Brissett. I'm an idiot.
No, it's okay. Sorry, but the yearage was right.
I'm glad you brought that up. I got to correct myself because I'm sure everybody in the chat no, you didn't, you fucking liar.
To me, if you really look at the league right now and what is truly the market for Justin Fields, The only answer that I can remotely come up with, and the other one I was saying, Mac Jones going from New England to Jacksonville to be a backup.
Yeah.
Is probably Minnesota. That is the only team. The Niners division is pretty lock solid. Your division's pretty much lock solid. Again, New England doesn't count in this conversation. Cowboys have a quarterback. The Eagles have a quarterback. The Giants, interesting, but they're probably going to ride or die with Danny Dimes.
Do the Cowboys have a quarterback? Because just a little bit ago, I say when I was on
Jerry
the Jet
Jones,
line,
he's not going to fall on the sword on Dak Prescott. Jerry Jones is too proud of a man. He ain't going to do it. If he does, I will. No, I was going to say that. I was going to make a bet, but no, I want to keep that. I'm I would do something so radical. Like I would do a podcast episode from an ice bath.
But you know what I'm referring to, right?
What the controversy
about what's going on with Dak right now?
Oh, the legal troubles.
Yeah, with some kind of sexual assault or something.
But something happened potentially in 2017. He's claiming that some person is extorting him.
This is from his past then.
It's from his past. It's not current. No, it's not a Deshaun Watson situation.
Gotcha.
So I'm thinking of every team in the league, and the only team I can truly come up with is the Minnesota Vikings. And the question is would Minnesota bite? I think Justin Jefferson would bite on it for sure, because I don't think he wants Nick Mullins, or potentially there's rumors, I think, Sam Darnold.
There would be no way the Vikings would make that trade within the division.
I've seen stranger things, to say the least. But
those two teams hate each other.
I know they do, but I am trying my hardest to think and to really put it into perspective. At the end of the day, Ravens, no. Texans, CJ Stroud. Colts have their quarterback back. Niners, Rams, Buccaneers. Carolina's got, Young. They're not going to throw him away. Browns, Bengals, Lions, Jets, Falcons, Saints. Tennessee, they have Will Levis, and they added Calvin Ridley and a couple other pieces, so I think they're going to ride that ship.
Yeah, Will's still a question mark. We'll have to really see how he performs this next year.
Denver.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Justin Fields is the type of quarterback Sean Payton wants.
No, I definitely think Sean Payton looks more like he wants a guy like a J.J. McCarthy, that more pure pocket passer kind of guy, like your Drew Brees and stuff like that.
Yeah, and after that, it's Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, Commanders, Bills, Dolphins. Maybe the Commanders if they don't believe, but again, the Commanders and the Patriots have a top 3 pick, and the quarterbacks are right at the top. So it really, to me, if I'm the Bears, everybody's clamoring Justin Fields is barely a backup. I really don't understand that conversation. I think he is a starter. He's the type of quarterback that needs to be put in more of a perfect scenario and not just thrown to the wolves and be like a Tom Brady. We'll give you whatever.
Was at Ohio State.
Yeah, we'll give you whoever and make nobodies into somebodies. Justin Fields needs somebodies to be somebody. And with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Swift, Kmet, and a good defense, I think he could be somebody. I'm not saying he's going to be MVP, but I think he could compete with the Packers because the Packers got stronger. The Lions are the Lions. That division is now going to be sneaky good with the Vikings probably going to be at the bottom. And who the heck knows? What if at the 11th hour, Justin Jefferson says, trade me? That could flip this division on its head a little bit. So
I wouldn't be surprised if you see a draft day trade with Justin Jefferson. Because you got to remember, a team that – oh, man. Could you imagine the Jets ending up with Justin Jefferson on draft day trade, all because Minnesota wants to jump somebody to go get J.J. McCarthy or somebody?
Hey, I have a wild thought. I'm not saying I want this to happen, but just wild thought here. The rumors are circulating about the 49ers that the Ravens inquired about Deebo Samuel, and the Niners said, heck no. Okay? Neither team has confirmed that happened. Okay? Brandon Ayuk's on the final year of the deal. He wants an extension. He wants to be a Niner, whatever situation. Jacksonville has supposedly called the Niners about a trade, and the Niners are saying right now, heck no. What if something wild happens? Ayuk to Minnesota and draft picks for Justin Jefferson.
Fuck you.
I don't think it would happen.
Nasty.
Brock Purdy. Well, a lot of Niner fans in the Niner chats are saying dump Debo, extend Ayuk. That's been the majority right now because of the injury capability, the injury situation.
Well, I wouldn't dump Debo. I'd try to get something for him.
Well, not dump him, but like trade. He'd be the trade piece.
I got you.
Send him to Minnesota with draft picks and stuff because the Niners have plenty of draft capital from this year. They got draft capital. It depends what Minnesota wants. Like, too bad the 49ers didn't have a 2-year deal on Sam Darnold because then the deal could have been like Debo, Darnold, draft picks, Justin Jefferson in return. That would have made more sense.
What they're gonna. I'm wondering if they're gonna roll with Sam Darnold this year. I mean, unless a trade just falls into their lap where they can't pass it up, I wonder if Sammy Darnold is the guy in Minnesota for at least 1 year.
He's been a starter before, so it's not like he's an incapable starter. He knows what a starter is like.
There's not a whole lot of pressure in Minnesota like there was in New York.
Yeah, but Minnesota's offense isn't bad outside of quarterback. You have Aaron Jones coming over from the Packers at the RB position.
Oh, that's right.
Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
They still have Jordan Addison, who's a very good wide receiver. KJ Osborne, very talented receiver. TJ Hawkinson, who's a top tight end in this league.
Yeah, absolutely.
They lost some defensive pieces, so their defense is going to really shove. But they're just looking at their offense. They have a decently pretty good, capable offense. I would say one of the better offenses. Like, they have a better offense right now than Seattle, than Arizona, than probably the Giants, probably than the Commanders. They have at least a top 7 offensive lineup on paper in the NFC.
But
so
they gotta have that quarterback to bring it all together, though.
You know, and I don't know how Justin Jefferson's going to feel about Sam Darnold or somebody of that caliber to be that quarterback to get him his 12 receptions and 100-plus yards every single game.
Right. I'm telling you, man.
Zach Wilson ain't going to thread the needle for that one in this case.
I'm telling you, man, with teams like Denver and Minnesota picking behind the Jets, I really hope they're eyeballing us at 10. I hope one of them comes to call and say, hey, we'll give you a second round we'll give you like Denver. If I was the Jets, I'd be like, give us Cortland, we'll swap picks and give us Cortland Sutton
I will say this: you watched the movie Draft Day, right?
Oh yeah,
okay.
One of my favorite movies, actually.
So I love Kevin Costner. Side digression right there. Kevin Costner, Chef's Kiss.
Good actor.
Is it a scenario kind of like in that movie where they take Vontae Mack first overall and then the star quarterback drops all the way down and they get the picks back? Is that a situation here where if the Bears keep Fields, balk on Caleb Williams, does it reset from pick 2 and down, and you get teams like Minnesota, like Denver saying, oh, we need to make a move and jump?
Yeah.
Because it'd be
a hefty price, but
it would be a heftier price now, or it'd be a heftier price on draft day than it would be as of right now in this moment. But if everything drops down, Caleb Williams would probably go to the Commanders with his old offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury at SC. Then number 3, overall New England, they probably still take a quarterback. And then it gets a little murky at 4 and below. Now this is going to be an interesting scenario. All these mock drafts we've talked about, Joe Alt primarily is going number 5 to the Chargers. Yeah. With the Chargers losing Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, where my guarantee pick is? Brock Bowers is going to be a Charger.
You think so?
They need a receiver. Who is the best receiver on the Chargers right now?
That's what I mean. I think if they fall, I think the Chargers pick is going to be Malik Neighbors.
It's gonna. They honestly, lost Gerald Everett.
That took wide receivers. There could be a good chance that Joe Alt may fall to 10, dude. I mean, if you figure 4 quarterbacks go within, we'll say top 10 pick, 4 quarterbacks go, you figure 3 receivers, a tight end.
I'm looking right now to see where the latest mock drafts are at this moment after free agency, because this becomes a very precarious situation. And we talked about this last week. Free agency is going to set the tone for a lot of these teams.
Oh, yeah.
And now, as of the needs right now, again, the top 5 picks: Bears, Commanders, Patriots, Cardinals, Chargers. Mm-hmm. None of those teams, or the Bears, Commanders, Patriots, need quarterbacks. Cardinals don't. They need a wide receiver. I see Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. going there, whoever falls. Chargers are now in need of a wide receiver and a tight end.
Randy Odunze is still there.
Odunze could be there. The Giants need a wide receiver, and then I would say Joe Alt's probably going to Tennessee. They need offensive tackle no matter what.
Where does Tennessee pick? 8?
7.
Okay.
Then the Falcons are 8. Bears again at 9. So the Bears have 2 in the top 10. So the Bears have, again, the affordability to keep Fields, draft down, and still have a pick in the top 10.
Yeah.
So that's why I really don't understand them picking at number 1 a quarterback. Keep Justin Fields. Sign him to a long-term deal and figure it out. But
get you a little hog, get some extra picks.
You can get an extra if this is the draft based on the way free agency has gone, to stockpile everything.
Yeah. I mean, I've said this, and this will be my dream scenario, is right now if the Jets either sign Tyrone Smith from the Cowboys or, what's his name, David Bakhtiari from the Green Bay.
Bakhtiari, yeah. I'm not going to lie. I really do think Aaron Rodgers is going to sucker him over there.
Well, my dream scenario would I would rather have Tyrone Smith than him, but either one of those guys at this point I'm okay with. And then I'd go into the draft, trade back, get that second round pick, maybe. And now that you got your offensive line basically set up for the next couple of years, you can go out and get not only trade, get that second round pick, but you can also still get a playmaker in the first round. And then, by the way, in the later rounds with some of the picks that you just acquired, you can get your future for the offensive line, like your Tyler Gottens and your Mason McCormick's.
I just researched this, and this was the best one I could find while you were chatting here. CBS.com's Ryan Wilson, as of March 12th, so 2 days ago, put his updated first-round draft board together. Now, again, this is prior to tonight's Keenan Allen trade.
Okay.
And this is prior to one other thing happened in this one. I'm looking here. Oh, maybe not.
Round to the Chiefs.
Well, that's lower, but yes. Before anything that happened today, what is it, March 14th, before anything happened, he has Caleb Williams going 1 to the Chicago Bears.
Wow.
He's got Jaden Daniels, LSU quarterback, going to the Commanders at 2. He's got J.J. McCarthy to New England at 3. I still don't understand how McCarthy's getting high stock right now, but that's, I don't know.
Now he's a top 5 pick, huh?
Marvin Harrison Jr., number 4 to Cardinals. Then this is where it gets interesting because we didn't have the news about the Chargers-Bears trade. Number 5, it's supposed to be the Chargers. He has predicted, again, on March 12th, Minnesota trading up to pick up Drake May from North Carolina.
Which means Justin Jefferson's part of a trade there.
I would say he would stay with a rookie quarterback like May. I think Jefferson would stay 1 year.
What is Minnesota going to give up to go that far up?
I don't know.
They don't have the ammunition to pull that. The only ammunition they have is a stud wide receiver.
Well, the Chargers pick at 11, so Minnesota's only going from 11 to 5. So it's not a huge, it's not like they're at the bottom. But they trade up with the Chargers, which I don't think's happening now with the Chargers trading Keenan Allen. The Chargers ain't trading number 5, sorry.
Right, yeah.
But Drake May at 5. They have Oliminewe Vashanu, the offensive tackle from Penn State, to the Giants, which Giants could use a wide receiver, but they need to beef up that O-line. So but the Giants could be a wild card. They could go wide receiver and throw off the wide receiver thing, because at number 7 they have Joe Alt going to Tennessee at number 7. Then Jared Verse to Atlanta, an edge rusher. And then Malik Neighbors, wide receiver to the Bears. Now, again, Moore and Allen are your 1-2 punch with Cole Kmet as your 3. Do the Bears really waste their number 9 pick getting another wide receiver?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. So I think, again, the affordability for them to not take Caleb Williams. And then number 10, to wrap things up on the Jet side of things, the wide receiver from Washington, Rome Odunze. Wow. And then to wrap it up, number 11, where the Vikings were, Chargers trade down, they have Talise Fuaga from Oregon State. So they believe Chargers go with offensive tackle first, even though that's where they've been. They feel content in that. But now I probably the new latest mock drafts by the pundits probably won't come out till Monday. So I'm interested to see what this Keenan Allen trade means just for mock draft coverage and how things are going to change. Because there is going to be definite changes to this top 10 for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I will say this about Minnesota. I don't see what they have to trade other than Justin Jefferson, but I'll say this. I don't think Justin Jefferson's going to want to play with a rookie quarterback because that's basically you're basically like starting over in Minnesota with a rookie quarterback.
Unless it's an air raid offense.
Yeah, I don't see them going that route. I don't know, man. I just don't think Minnesota has what it takes to move up that far to grab. Would you say JJ McCarthy or something?
Well, in other ones that I'm pulling up right now, Sports Illustrated, they just updated theirs tonight. They have Williams at 1, Jaden Daniels at 2 to the Commanders. They have Drake May at 3 going to New England.
That's where I think it's going to happen. I think May ends up in
Cardinals have Marvin Harrison Jr. at 4, so that's been pretty steady. Vikings trade up with the Chargers to get J.J. McCarthy.
Oh, good Lord.
Giants in this one get Malik Neighbors. Tennessee again gets Joe Alt. Falcons get Dallas Turner, an edge guy, similar.
Oh, wow.
Odunze goes to the Bears at 9. And the good old Jets get the offensive tackle from Penn State, Olu Fashanu.
Oh, okay.
And then the Chargers at number 11 get Brock Bowers. So that's how Sports Illustrated views. So both CBS and Sports Illustrated feel Minnesota's going to work a deal with the Chargers. It's hard for me. It's honestly, I know we weren't going to talk too much about mock drafts tonight because we're not doing one, but again, this little ripple of details really puts it into perspective here of, I think the Bears are in one situation, but I think Jim Harbaugh, he's got his work to do now in LA because he says Justin Herbert's one of the best quarterbacks he's ever laid eyes on. And now his top 2 receivers are gone. Yeah. And Austin Eckler is gone.
Yep.
Who in the heck is playing for the Chargers? I'm really I really don't know it. I'm glad, and we know we have our buddy Alex in our group text in our fantasy football league that he's a diehard Chargers fan.
Yeah.
And you know right now, and he already put in our group that he is beside himself right now. Like right now, on the Chargers' current depth chart, they have 2 wide receivers on their entire depth chart.
That's it?
Joshua Palmer and Quentin Johnston.
Who?
Joshua Palmer's been there. He's been like their wide receiver 3, and Johnson was a rookie last year. Man. They have their starting running back right now is Isaiah Spiller.
And they pick at 5?
Yeah.
It has to be Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr., whoever.
Well, I already know deeper in the draft. You already know, and I could, again, I will bet I will do a podcast episode in an ice bath on this. Jim Harbaugh, at some point in the draft, he will draft from from the University of Michigan, running back Blake Corum to be the RB1 when we kick off in September of the 2024 NFL season. You know, let's set the bar right now. Over under 2.5 picks that the Chargers will pick in this draft come from the University of Michigan. 2.5 is the over-under. I'm saying over.
Well, I'll go with the under on this one.
I'm saying 3. He goes 3. I don't know who, but Corum is 1. I really believe Corum's going to be 1.
I'll give you at least 1 though. I know he was eyeballing JJ, but I could give you that one. I'll give you that one.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy. But no, it's been wild. This free agency has been wild, and it's really put the draft in a different position now. And I don't think it really changes much for bringing it back to the Jets. I don't think it really changes much for the Jets. I think. Do we agree that they probably should take still offensive linemen at 10 overall if they keep the 10th overall pick? Probably. If Joe Alt is there, great.
Oh my God.
If Fajanu from Penn State is the next best guy, I think if you're able to get Alt or Fajanu, I think you could be pretty content and happy with that pick.
No, absolutely.
I know there'll probably be Jets fans that are upset about it or whatever, but would it be a Jets thing to just ignore the O-line and just get a receiver? Like, would Joe Douglas really do that? Like, maybe.
I mean, it really depends on who the receiver is, I guess.
Yeah, but
speaking of O-line, we still got a couple of more slides here.
Yes, we do. See, we went off the tangent. We knew it.
That's all right. So the first domino to fall on the offensive line, we went out and signed John Simpson, former Baltimore Raven, to a 2-year, up to $18 million deal. And I'm going to read a little bit about him. The Jets took the inexpensive route, opting for the unheralded Simpson over the more accomplished guards such as the Robert Hunts, your Jonah Jacksons, both whom landed big money deals. Simpson, 6'4", 330 pounds, brings some pop in the run game, but he's had some issues in pass protection. 8 sacks last season per ESPN stat, and he was flagged for 11 penalties. Now, that's right there, like the penalties, man.
Yeah.
Like, and I know a lot of that stuff's coachable, but you're talking about a team that was very undisciplined last year, man. So to have so for me just to say, like, and we talk about this every week about, when we talk about prospects and stuff about, how certain things are coachable, that you could totally take a flyer on a guy, and you could work that shit out of a guy. I don't know if you can have a team that's ran by a head coach that's constantly fucking, creating penalties every week and nothing ever seems to change. How you're going to bring a guy that's used to committing penalties and you're just going to coach that out of him? Like, I don't think so.
Penalties is probably one of the hardest things. And again, I've not been a player and I've not been a coach in football, but it seems pretty obvious that penalties are something hard to break. It's not like, you need to get better leverage and you just work on that. Penalties are penalties. So to try to erase that or to minimize the damage in those situations, that's going to be a task. And again, when you have a defensive-minded coach in Robert Saleh, they feel that they can wipe that away or at least, again, minimize the damage.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, we'll go back to his slide.
6 foot, 330 pounds is nice.
11 fucking penalties, though, man. And he's not the only. I believe we'll go to this. This other
Moses
guy.
there.
Yeah. I'm just looking over here. Okay, no, he didn't have any penalty issues, so I was wrong there.
Yeah,
but no, we went out and traded for Morgan Moses. He played for the Jets in 21. He played 16 of 17 games for us in 21.
All right, a little bit of a technician, 3 years, $15 million in 2021, and then base salary. But again, he allowed pressure on 40.5% of the dropbacks in 2023. Mm-hmm. So 6th highest rated in the league. That's quality for only a 1-year deal at $5.5 million. Again, they're not flashy moves, but I feel it's those depthy little pieces where it's one of those themes where it's like, we're going to do the cheap options a little bit and we're going to see where they go. And it's not so much blindly throwing the dart. It's we're going to be methodical about this and still hope for the best and to kind of capture those essences and the best that they can in those situations.
Right. And this is why I really wish we would sign the guy from Green Bay or the dude from Dallas for the left tackle position. is it's like I said, man. I mean, you could still get a playmaker
Yep.
in the first round. So if you want to get like a Brian Johnson Jr., or somebody's there, if somebody there's available, maybe a Brock Bowers, falls or whatever, you can grab him. But if we can nail that left tackle, if we can get both tackle positions and we got both guard positions filled, we could pick up a playmaker. We could trade back, pick up more picks later in the draft. Get a playmaker or somebody that can come in right away, in the first round, and then start worrying about maybe the future on that offensive line, like your Tyler Gottens, your Mason McCormick's in the later round. Like they're going to be there, man.
I think if it's bound to those two free agents, Bakhtiari and Smith from the Cowboys, you're going to based on the trajectory of this offseason with a little bit of the older, cheaper picks, Bakhtiari is going to be that guy. And again, the double whammy that he's good friends with Aaron Rodgers all that time in Green Bay. And again, I don't want to throw too much in the gauntlet and digress too much, but as a little joke, unless Aaron Rodgers is going to be in the Oval Office at some point this year running for vice president. But, but I could see them go, hey, Bakhtiari, you want to come over and protect my blind side here and be my left tackle and do the things that we've done in the past?
I think that's where we end up going. If we do end up going the left tackle route.
If you go Bakhtiari, does that close the door on taking an offensive lineman with the 10th overall pick if you keep that pick?
I mean, not necessarily. Like, yeah, if you keep the pick, I could still see them drafting the offensive line, just for the future or whatever. Because some of these, like your Tyrone Smiths, your Bakhtiaris or whatever, they're not going to be here very long.
No,
2 years max, maybe a year, who knows? But no, if they're still there at 10, I could definitely still see them pick an offensive lineman. They could still, I mean, if they still want to go offensive line in the first round, they could still probably trade back, get a guy like J.C. Latham, and then still get a second round pick, and still go out and get a Tyler Gotten or maybe a Mason McCormick in like your third or fourth round or whatever.
There's options, and like I said,
of them.
I think with what has happened in free agency and recently tonight with the Bears situation and where the Chargers are going to be at, and the Vikings, you might see week of draft day, on draft night, some weird things happen that may benefit the Jets. Because I think if anybody's trading up at this position, it's going to be for wide receivers or quarterbacks. No one's trading up for an offensive tackle because there's a lot. Unless someone was so eager and desperate to not let Joe Alt fall number 7 to Tennessee. I don't know if I foresee any teams in the top 15 that are worried about something like that. But again, don't count out Denver. They could throw out some things too to try to get a quarterback at this point. Vikings and Denver that are below the Jets at 11 and 12, they could reset the table here and reset the tone. I really do believe there's going to be at least one trade to get somebody from the outside into the top 10 and adjust the top 10 picks before we hit the little bell and, we're underway on draft night.
No, I think you're probably right. I think we're going to get at least at least one major trade on draft night.
Of course, no doubt. So again, it's been really interesting so far. And if the trajectory is where it's been so far, I really do believe that trade will happen. It could be sooner rather than later. I don't have any inside information, but I think it could be someone's going to get desperate. Like the St. Louis draft day, someone's going to come out of this looking like a donkey.
Yep.
some team is going to balk first.
Yep.
The depth and the fallout from that balk could be bigger than the balk itself.
Absolutely.
So we'll see.
Excuse me. Now, before we finish things up, it kind of segued us into it, but we learned that Mr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has recently approached the NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers and former Minnesota governor and former professional wrestler Jesse the Body Ventura about serving as his running mate on an independent presidential ticket, and both have welcomed the overtures. Two people familiar with the discussion said. Now, before I throw this over to you, dude, I'm just going to be fucking real frank, real simple. Okay, Aaron Rodgers is not going to be the fucking vice president. First of all, when has an independent or even the Libertarian Party fucking won shit? Aaron Rodgers spent a whole fucking year rehabbing, trying to get back to play with the Jets. He's talking about how he wants to play another 2 or 3 more years. You think he's going to throw all that fucking away? $35 million also on top of all that. You think he's going to throw that away for 12% of the fucking vote?
This is Aaron Rodgers at his best, basically giving the double bird to the media. Yeah. And this is his little tactic to jive it right into the media and create a narrative and different things. Is he going to probably do it? No. Is he entertaining the option out of respect for whatever? Sure, why not? You can
They're
have
good friends. Him and RFK are good friends. And I will say this before we go.
Go for it.
And I want to make this point that they are good friends. They get along really well.
Yeah.
And technically, RFK cannot announce his running mate for another 2 weeks. It's just the rule with the independent ticket in this country.
Yep.
It's a little anti-democracy, but whatever. I think right now the reason why because Aaron's already came out and talked about how he debunked. I never said what these fucking assholes were saying about the Sandy Hook. I never said that. We all knew that. I mean, there's video proof of it. He never said that. But the thing is RFK can't announce his running mate for another 2 weeks due to rules. So as a friend, Aaron's probably not going to say anything for 2 weeks. So his friend can go out and hit the podcast, hit the news station, get in front of the American public, and say what he needs to say for the next 2 weeks. And then he's going to pick his running mate, and it's not going to be Aaron Rodgers. But he's not going to say anything because it builds things up. Like everybody's going to want to know, like, oh, are you going to pick? Is Aaron Rodgers going to be your running mate? So that automatically will get him on the podcast. We'll get him on the news media outlets.
It's basically a springboard to get more attention to Kennedy's campaign. So again, it's all to just poke at the media and have them talking about Aaron Rodgers. And I'm not saying that in the sense of Aaron Rodgers likes the attention on it.
He does. He
does. But it's not for that reason like everybody thinks, oh, he's got to be the center of attention. It's me. It looks like it, but he's doing it for his friend. And like you said, the springboarding of podcasts and different things. So again, just because Aaron Rodgers, right before he, the Achilles popped, he's, running in with the American flag at MetLife Stadium and doing everything here and dun, 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 dun. Like, come on. No, it's not one of those things. We know, not to get too political, we know what this fall is going to look like in this summer. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to say names. This is not that type of show. We know if you're not living under a rock, you know what's probably going to happen in the next couple of months. Okay. Right. Is Aaron Rodgers going to thread the needle and knock out the other two people I'm alluding to?
No.
Hell no. No offense to Aaron Rodgers, but hell no. It's funny. We can laugh about this. Did I giggle a little bit when I read the news? Like, oh, this is really this is real. I thought it was a fake story. Right. And then, like I said, you see the videos that people are posting, him with the flag and the whole presidential music, and I just sit back and laugh. Is it really going to happen? No. Laugh what? People, First Amendment, you can talk to whoever you want. Laugh a little. Like the great comedians of our time. Laugh a little. It's fine.
Absolutely. Now, I'm not saying later in his life that Aaron couldn't be, a decent, representative in office, or that, that one day he might have, the desire to do that. But right now, his focus is on football. His focus is on the Jets. His main focus an entire fucking year was trying to get back before week 15 so he could maybe try to get this team back to the fucking playoffs. So that's why I say, like, if you think this guy wants this fucking headache and he's going to hang up the rest of his fucking career that he knows he's not done playing, just so he can go, like I say, get 11 to 12% of the vote, and then when the fucking campaign's over, he's like, fuck, I gave my NFL career up for that?
Yeah. This is not like, and again, I'm not trying to get too political, but
it's okay.
This is not like President Donald Trump asked him to be his running mate, where it was Republican versus Democrat, or well, we know Aaron Rodgers doesn't think liberal in that sense, but again,
Now, if you'd had one of the two top parties come out and said, that might be a little more scary.
now you probably would have a real conversation.
Yeah.
But with an independent, third party candidate type situation, it's more, I don't want to say laughable, but it's more giggle and hold the horses, buddy. This isn't like, again, President Trump at the UFC event met Aaron Rodgers and they were sitting down hand in hand and this. Like, and they've been seen at Mar-a-Lago golfing and talking. Like, it's not that situation. So I think it's just it's a hilarious story that you put on the bingo card in 2024. We bingo card a lot of stuff in the NFL season, but look at that.
Look at it.
Your potential presidential ticket. And normally the president's on the left and the VP's on the right. So maybe Aaron Rodgers is going to steal the president.
Oh, God.
We got to end on a light note, baby. Come on now.
It's just crazy fucking week, man, to say the least. And it was only supposed to be a free agency week, man. You know what I mean? Shit.
And like I said, it's not done yet. So buckle your seatbelts, folks. We ride it dawn. Let's go.
Maybe next year we'll find out he wants to be prime minister of Canada or something. I don't know. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for our show this week. Again, thanks for checking us out here on the One Jets Pod. If you're listening on the audio side of things, thanks for listening all the way to the end. Make sure to follow us and give us a 5-star. If you're checking us out on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe and smash that bell notification. On behalf of myself and Mr. Dominic Lorenz, you're watching the One Jets Pod, and we'll see you down the road. Go Jets!
Welcome to Jet Life Stadium. Hit it!
Thanks again, Jets fans.